Hi everyone. Today video is on Azure Blob Storage. So in this video we are going to communicate with Azure Blob Storage from our .NET Web API by using framework .NET 5. Okay. So in this video we are going to learn about communicate with Azure Blob Storage. Like we will do file operations such as like file uploading, file reading, or file downloading, or file deleting. So these operations will be achieved through writing a .NET 5 Web API endpoint. Internally, it will communicate the blob storage. Okay. So in this session, we will clearly understand the steps to integrate and use the blob storage into our application. Okay, before going any further, I want to mention that this entire video session has already made as a blog. If you are a blog lover, you can go through my blog. The every piece of step or code of line that I am going to explain in this video has been already furnished into the blog as well. Okay, so if you want, you can go through my blog. The link will be in the description under the video. Okay, this is the blog regarding the Azure Blob Storage concept. Okay, so link will be available in the description. Okay, so since we have to communicate with the blob storage, right? So we need to know what is blob and what is blob storage and how it will be useful. Okay, actually blob storage is a provided by the Azure service. Okay, blob is nothing but the unstructured data where we can store the huge amount of data very easily. Means unstructured data, nothing but either a text or binary of data will be stored very easily in the Azure account store as a blob file. The way Azure Blob Storage works, if you observe this picture in Azure Store, we'll have the separation of accounts by using the Azure resource. Okay, you can see here Azure resource. So let me zoom. Okay, Azure resource. So inside of Azure resource, we can have the Azure account, storage account. Okay, so for the storage account, what we can do, we can create the containers. Containers are nothing but the folders when we compare with our physical storage. We will have different kinds of folders in our system, right, or on computer or any device. So same folder is equivalent to the containers in the storage account. See here in the picture, you can see we have defined two containers like upload images and the upload videos. These are the name to the containers. Okay, and an account can contain and one storage account can have unlimited number of containers. Means in simple terminology, unlimited number of folders. Okay, so we can create unlimited number of containers in the storage account, Azure storage account. Okay, so in each container, means in each folder, we can have an unlimited number of blobs. Blobs are nothing but the file, any file like image or PDF or video, any file. Okay, so each container can have a number of blobs. So here a container can have only blobs, it cannot contain a child container. Okay, so that thing we have to remember, like we don't have subfolder system here. If you want another folder, we have to create another container itself. Okay, in the storage account. So this is how Azure account storage looks, where where we are going to store our blob storage. Okay, so simple words, Azure storage account will have a number of containers, nothing but the folders. Each folder can have a number of blobs. Blobs are nothing but the our files. Okay, that are saved as either text format or the binary format. Okay, that's about the Azure account storage. Okay, so if you are very beginner uh, or very new to the Azure storage, please make sure to create one account in Azure portal. Okay, I have already logged in. Okay, so if you are a new to the Azure, please sign up with the Azure portal storage. On signing up, it will ask for a debit card. So please don't concentrate on it more, because it won't take any of your money until unless you are going to upgrade your portal services for your required users. For a developers, we can use lot more resources on Azure for free. Okay, but free means we know, right? There are limitations like memory size or the services request like that. We will have some limitations. For the learners, that is absolutely huge amount when we think for the learning purpose. Okay, so for a learners or the developers who are very enthusiastic with Azure, so you can first get interact with Azure with the free account, so you can understand the benefits or the services that are work on the Azure storage. So please make sure to have a sign up with the Azure portal. Since I have already signed up, right now my main goal is I want to create a Azure storage account. In that storage account, I will create a one container, and also I will show you how to upload files into that container directly from our portal dashboard. Okay. So once you have signed up and logged into your dashboard, you can see the page like this. Okay. Next thing is you need to click on the create resources. Resources are nothing but just a grouping. Okay. Grouping. Grouping means just to separate the each storage account like that you can think. So here after clicking the resource, let me come back, click on create resource. Now search for like storage account. Okay. So here you can see one tiles of applications or services provided by the Azure. Okay. So here first one storage account. Click on to create storage account. Okay. See, this is the form we need to fill up to create a storage account. Okay. So most of the options we can use the default options. For the new learners, it is very easy to create in the Azure storage account. Resource group name, I have already mentioned, right? Resource groups are nothing but a separators, a wrapper or a box. Okay, a box can contain different services like one such service like is storage account. Create new one. Okay, there are naming space limitations. Please make sure to follow them. Okay, I will name it like Naveen Azure resource. Okay, this is my resource group name. Okay, next thing is we need to specify the Azure Store account name. So this should be unique. Why this should be unique means this name will be used in the base address for creating the base address of any object that we are going to store in this account. Means for suppose if I save a image into my a container in this particular account, then we if you want to directly access that image into the browser, we can use an one base address. That base address is formed with the help of Azure storage account. Nothing but what I can say is it will create a subdomain based on our storage account name. So I will name it is like Naveen Azure Store. Okay, and I can leave my location as East US. If you want, you can change to nearest one. I'm using the East US default one. Performance. Okay, since I am using for learning purpose only, right? So I can use standard. If you want to go premium, you can go for premium by upgrading your portal. Okay, account kind is storage v2 is recommended because all these are old one. Okay, this storage v1 or blob storage are not recommended. Okay, because storage v2 has support for blobs and the tables and queues and lot more features of the Azure storage. So most features are available under the storage v2. Okay, so you can select the default option storage v2. Okay, that is the recommended from the Microsoft guidelines as well. Okay, this is replication. Replication is nothing but your storage account replications means how many number of replications it will create like that. Okay, replication nothing but based on zones you will have different servers will be hosted. Like if one is done, another zone server can be utilized. So here there are a lot of options. So what I will do, if you are like locally means so you will have only local server. Zone means based on zone you will have 3 replicates of your server. If one is down, another will be helpful for service. Geo redundant nothing but the maintains uh, copies. Okay, 3 different copies within the same server only. Okay, like that there are a lot of options. You can check over in the what will help by the each option. You can check over in the official docs. So here demo purpose, what I will do, I will use the default one, that is read access geo redundant storage. Okay, so now this form has lot of options like networking, data production, advanced tags and reviews. I can just skip them. For beginners, no need to change any of those configurations. Can, if you want, you can study each option and make sure to select those options as per your requirement. Okay. So here, what I will do with the basic information, I'm going to click on review plus create. Okay. It's going to skip the all the uh, uh, other remaining tabs. Okay. So it is previewing my all the options. Okay, just click on create button. So we have a created account, right? It is started deploying to means it is like hosting into the cloud space. Okay, it will take very few seconds or couple of minutes more, not won't take more than that. So let it deploy. So if you see deployment is successful, so it is asking me to go to and visit my resource. So I'm going, see here. This is my storage account. This is the name I have given while registering. Okay. This name will be used in the base address. Okay. So now what we have to do means storage account, what we will have in storage account, containers. So we need to create the container. For that, just scroll the left hand side menu here in the containers, click the containers and click on the add new container. Okay. It will show you a form. Okay. So I will name it like upload file. Any name you can give through as per the guidelines. Okay, next public access level. Okay, so this is something like if you keep private, I have mentioned, right, it will provide a, so let create with the private only. I will show you the what is what. So let me create. Okay, now this is my container has been created, so go to my container. Okay, see, this is the container. Container is nothing but my folder. This is the dashboard for my folders. Here it is showing. So it is like uploaded something. So here I will click. Okay, I will select one of my file from local storage. Okay, so I will upload this bike and click on upload. See, here we have got file uploaded bike to WP format image. Okay, so let's click it here. See URL. It formed a URL. So let's copy that and paste it over here. See, if you observe here, Naveen Azure Store dot C. Remaining is blob core windows.net. That is regarding to the blob storage domain. So here it is creating a subdomain using the storage account. Okay. So if you try to access this in browser, see, resource is not found because this access level we specified as private. Okay, so private things cannot be accessed directly from the Azure store. So for that, what we have to do, we need to change the permissions of our uh, container. Okay, let me go to my storage. Okay, here and here click on change access level. So here what I will do, I will give entire container as a you can use as a blob or container. So here what I will do, I will give enter container itself as anonymous read access. Okay, so I will clicking on OK. Okay, it is successfully updated. Let's go here. We have 5 and let's try to access this file. See, now I am able to render the or access the image directly. That is the toggle between the public access level options. Okay, so here two things we mainly reminder is one thing mainly reminder is the name of your Azure storage that will be used as your subdomain for your resources which are going to be stored under the containers inside of it. Okay, so that's it. So this is dashboard, how it looks. So here we use a dashboard, right? Now next thing is what we will do means we will create a .NET 5 web API applications, and there from there we will communicate. We will make a secure connection handshake or the establish a secure connection with the Azure Blob Storage, and we are going to upload, download, or delete or read the file from there. Okay. So now let's create a sample .NET 5 web API application. So let me create .NET. So if you are a Visual Studio developer, please make sure to have 2019 16.8 point something, the latest version of the Visual Studio, because only that above that version only Visual Studio can have able to compile the .NET 5 applications. Or another most recommended IDE is Visual Studio Code Editor. So here I am going to use the Visual Studio Code Editor. So for you Visual Studio developers, code code developers, Visual Studio Code developers, we need to use the .NET CLI command. So here I am going to use the CLI commands to create my project. Something like command is like .NET new, and that template I want to create web API template and name to my sample. I will create like sample blob manager. Okay. So this is my application I am going to create. So let's open our project in Visual Studio Code. This is our project that I have created with the target framework .NET 5. Okay, so now what I will do is Microsoft has been provided a .NET library for Azure Blob Storage communication. So we need to install that NuGet. For that we have to search like Azure Blob NuGet. So here go for Azure Storage Blobs. Okay, so install that library. So Visual Studio developers, copy from the Package Manager tab your command to install Azure Storage Blobs. Since I am using .NET CLI, what I will do, I will copy this command and let's open our terminal, paste our command and let's run the command. So it is installed successfully, I think. Let's minimize our terminal. Okay, and check in C project file. See, Azure Storage Blobs has been successfully installed. Okay, so far so good. And next thing is we need to have a connection string to communicate with our Azure storage account. For that, what we can do, go to storage, okay, side of the storage, access keys on left side, go to storage in the left side, go enter the settings, you can have access keys. Okay, so here we will have two access keys. You can use any of them into your application. Why two access means Microsoft recommendation is like key one should be like a standard one. Standard one means something like we are not change it more frequently. In that case, Microsoft is recommended to use the key one connection string or key. If you are changing your key more frequently, then we make that key as key 2. That is the suggestion from the Microsoft. It is not mandatory, but any connection string we can use for our development. So click on show keys, and I am going to copy the connection string from the key one. Okay, it is copied. Now what I will do, in the development settings, I will create a default connection string property inside of it. I will create like Azure storage, okay, Azure storage, and I will paste it here. So what I have did, we have configured our Azure storage connection here. Okay. So next thing is we need to we have installed our .NET library for Azure storage, right? We need to register that library file in startup. Something like blob service client it will provide. We need to register it in our application startup file so that it can be easily injected into our any file into our application. Okay, so let me go to startup file and I will create like scoped. Scoped means it's used for enter request. So add scope. Okay. From here I want to return that blob service. Return new blob service client. I think that's the correct one. See, it loads from Azure storage.blobs. Okay. And it expects connection string as one of the overloaded method, overloaded constructor. So here what I will do, I will use configurations get connection strings. Okay. Here we can pass our uh, property values. Let's first get rid of all these things. Okay, and let me zoom in. Okay, and okay, and we have to paste it here property our connection string property that is Azure storage. I will pass here. That should be in quotes. Okay, so that's it about the registration of our service client. So this service client will be used in our application to communicate with the Azure storage. Okay, so that's it. And next, first thing what I want to do is I want to create a endpoint, web API endpoint that should upload my file into my Azure storage. So in the Azure storage account, I am going to specify particular container name as well. So in that container, nothing but the container we have already created, right? Okay, let's go to the containers first. This container. Okay, so I'm going to store it here. Okay, upload it my file here. So for that, what I will do, first thing is I will create a class for payload. Okay, payload. For that, I will create a folder like first. Let's save everything. Okay. Now next operation is I want to create a folder. I will name it as models. Okay. Okay. Next, I want to create model name like file model.cs. Okay. So this is my payload object. Okay, let's create blob.manager.models. Okay, let's create my model class file model. So for demo purpose, here I will going to have only one property that is like public iform file type. Okay, my file. Okay. So iform file that loads from Microsoft.asp.NET4.html. I think it's known to everyone. So it is for reading the stream of data that was sent by the user as a payload. So it is very flexible to grab the file information as a property directly by defining that property type as iForm file. So that much easy by using this property to grab the any file data from the posted form. Okay, so that is the purpose. For the demo purpose, here let's assume like I have only the form field, like I form field that is good, nothing but contains the data about our file uploading. Now what I will do, I will create a controller. So like I will name it as image controller. Okay. My main target is like here I am going to operate on image file. So I will name it as image controller. Okay. So controller. Okay. It should inherit some controller base class. So let's copy from here. Let's inherit. Okay. And let me also inherit some attributes. Okay. That's And here I am going to create a action method like public action result and uploading file. I am going to do first thing. So here alt F and I need to pass my file model payload model and model. I need to specify like from form. Okay. And here what I can write if model dot I my file not equal to now. Then I need to do some logic that related to uploading into the blob storage. Okay. And next, what I have to do, I just simply written OK. Okay. So this is my startup skeleton for uploading action method. So we have to write logic to uploading our file, right? For that, I will create a business logic file. So for that, I will create folder like logics. Okay. Here I am going to create file like file manager logic.cs. Okay, logics. So let's implement our uh, blob storage logic in our file manager logics class. Okay, public class. Okay, so first thing is I need to inject the blob service class that has been registered in the startup file. So what I will do, I will create a first variable like private read only blob service client. Let's import the namespace that's from Azure Blobs. Okay, and now create a constructor. Here, let's inject the blob storage, sorry, blob service. Okay, blob service client, and let's assign it to our variable. Okay, now I am going to create a method that contains logic to uploading the file. Okay, so here what I will do, public void upload. Okay, here I am going to input my file upload model, file model. Okay, model. Okay, now first thing is from the blob service kind, we need to create a container object like where blob container equal to underscore blob service dot blob container client. Okay, okay. Here we need to pass our container name. Which container we want to configure. Our container name, what our container name? Upload file is my container name. So pass that client name as a input parameter. Okay. Upload hyphen file. Okay. Upload file. Okay. So what it will do? It's just create a blob container client object by configuring our client name, our container name into the object. Okay, so that on requesting the Azure Storage for file uploading, these configurations will be used. Means Azure Storage will determine this request for which container. So that configuration is going to prepare by this blob container client. Okay. Now next thing is I need to create a blob client object. Nothing but file file blob, nothing but we are going to store file, right? That object we need to create now. So I will name like blob client. Okay. So here I need to use blob container dot. So previously for container I fetched from the object from blob service client. Now for create the blob client object, I need to use blob container that we have created previously. So blob container dot get blob client. Okay. So here we need to pass the file name. Okay, file name, this is nothing but that file we are going to save into our server. So I will directly fetch this name from the model. Okay, like my file dot file name, that is from the client itself. For demo purpose, I am directly using like this, but in real scenario for real development, please use some random value. Don't straight away take the names that are posted from the client. Something like appending to this timestamp. Okay, some timestamp or some random number or some GUID number you can append and save it. Here in demo purpose, I am directly saving the original name, but it is not recommended for demo purpose. I am doing it. Okay, so now we have blob client. What it will do? Blob client. It will generate one more object like blob client object. Okay, by configuring this file name into that object. Okay, so entirely what happening here? Here finally this blob client will contain the whole namespace. Will form a URL internally inside of the blob that is entirely taken care by this library blob, our Azure Store library that we have installed. Okay, first what we have created object with container as its configuration. Next, using that object, we have created another object with there we are assigning our name of the file that we are going to upload. So finally, what we are doing here, get a blob client or get a blob container client won't invoke any internal calls to the Azure storage. Okay, it won't call anything. It just prepares an object. It just prepares purely an object. It will prepare with some set of configurations like container name and the file name that we are going to upload. Okay, next thing. Next is obviously final line for our code. So it should be a synchronous call uploading file. So what I will do, I will use async and here I will change to task. Okay, let's import namespace. So now I can use await really. Okay, now what I will do, I will use blob client object it has method like upload async. So this method going to invoke the communication or establish the communication with the Azure. Okay. Until this point, we don't have any Azure communication. Please remember that. Okay. And here first parameter need to be our stream of file data. I can do like model dot and my file is a iform file type, right? There we can open stream of data. Okay, I am passing here stream of data. Okay, so by default, this method uploads image like if it is already exist with the same name that here we are specifying, it will override that file while saving by default. Okay, if you want to stop that kind of functionality like overriding the existing file, we can say like false, another override method. By default, its functionality is it will create a new file. If it doesn't exist, if the file is already exists, it's just override on uploading the file. Okay. If you don't want to override the file, you can say here false. Okay. Some overloaded method will be there. See here, override. Okay, equal to false. You can use that one. So by default, this method will override. Okay, so that's it for code for uploading the file into my Azure store. So here what we are doing, we are creating the container configuration and then the file name configuration and finally uploading our file to our Azure store. Okay, so what I will do here, I will create a one interface method so that it will going to have all the abstract methods of this file manager. Okay, I will create like ifile manager dot manager logic dot cs. Okay, okay, let's do like this. Create interface public interface. Okay, and ifile manager logic. Okay, some intelligence problem. And let's create an abstract method for this upload method. Okay. And my model namespace reference. Okay, that's it. And let's copy this name and inherit. Okay, so that's it. Just ignore the squiggly line. And let's go to our startup and register our iFile manager and file manager so that they can be easily injected into our uh, controllers. Services dot scope. Okay. So file manager logic. Let's import namespace. That's fair enough. Now let's inject our iFile manager file into my image controller. So first I will create a read-only variable manager logic. Okay, I will name it like iFile manager logic and let's create a variable private read-only iFile manager logic. File manager logic on it one. Let's create a variable and now file manager logic equal to file manager logic. So we have injected our required service into my logic controller. So let's call it ifile manager logic dot upload image. Here I need to pass model. Okay, so that's it. The upload image action endpoint. Let's check our endpoint by uploading a file. Okay, so if everything good, Let's run our application. So everything good. It won't be any issue. So command is like .NET watch run. So my application is up and running. Some error. Okay. Okay. Here we need to specify action method and route as well. So HTTP post and the route value must be like upload. Do them. Okay. And now check the Swagger. See. Now Swagger is working perfectly. So this is my endpoint, right, for uploading image. Go here and let's try to check for tryout. See, it is showing to select the image to upload from the Swagger itself. Okay, so select it and let me select this bike number 10. Okay, this image, and what I will do, click on execute. So what's response I'm getting? I'm getting response 200. Means API is successful. Let's go to our container. Refresh it. Our image has been not showing here. Okay, not able to see the image. What is the issue? Okay. The request has been orphaned because it is a asynchronous request, right? I am not awaiting for the request completion successfully. So let's add and test now. It should work. Okay. And await it here. Okay, let's save it. So application is up and running. Let's reload our Swagger. Okay, let's try out again. Let's try to upload this 10 image by iPhone 10. Okay, execute. Now it is showing 200. Let's test it here. See, my image 10 has been uploaded here. If you copy the public URL, you can see, you can observe the image. Render, but it is downloading. Okay. Let's try it in another browser. Okay, my 10th image has been shown here. Okay, and so that we have successfully completed our file upload endpoint using the Azure Blob Storage, right? So this way we need to upload our files into the Azure Blob Storages. Okay. Next, I want to create endpoint like reading the image. Okay. So reading image can be done like this directly using public address. But if you want to read it as a stream of data from our API endpoint, we are going to implement that logic here. Okay. For that, what I will do, I will go here. I will do public async task. I will write like read. For reading, I need to specify image name, right? So input parameter will be string file name. Okay. So now there are few common methods like I need to configure these objects. So for reading, what is the purpose of these objects? So these objects will configure container. That container we want to operate on. So that is upload file. Here I will change the name from my input parameter. So here I am preparing the blob object client with the configurations like container name and file name. Okay. So this file name will be read from this container. For that purpose, I am configured using blob client dot. It will provide another method like download async. Okay, simply downloads the file. Here we have specified. Okay, so let's capture the img downloaded data. Okay, so what we are doing here, it will trigger Azure on invoking this download method. It is async, right? We need to avoid it. Okay, and on downloading data, we are storing it to a variable. Okay, that is stream of data. Now what we will do, I believe. Okay, ms equal to memory stream. So what I will do, I will read this data stream to image data stream into this memory stream. For that, here image downloaded dot value dot content dot copy to async into my memory storage. So here I am pushing my stream of response data from the blob download into my memory stream. So here what I will do, I will return that memory stream array of data as byte array. So like to array. Now I need to change this method return type to byte array. Okay, that's our logic for reading the stream of image from the Azure Blob Storage. What we are doing here, until here we are specifying our uh, container name and image we want to read. So here on downloading, it will use all the configurations we have defined here for downloading image. Once the content is downloaded, we are storing to a variable from the storage, from the response data, from the content, we are copying the stream of data into our memory stream object. Okay, once the data is completely loaded into the memory stream object, we are returning as byte array of data. Okay, colon. So now let's create a abstract method for this method in iFile manager file. Would be file manager logic and go here. Okay. Now we need to create a action method that's going to be consume this read method. Okay. For that, what I will do, public async task action result dot get or read. I can say anything is fine. Okay, it should have input parameter of file name string file name that I want to read. So it will be a get endpoint http get. Okay, and I can route like get. Okay, now here what I will do, I will capture that byte array of data img data equal to await file manager dot read. I need to pass the file name. Now to return it response, we have a method like file. Here I can specify that byte array of image data and the type of my image. My image content type is nothing but image slash. I'm storing WebP, right? So I am giving that format. So that's simple. We are done with the endpoint for fetching the image as a stream of data from the Azure Blob Storage. So let me save it. Application is running successfully without any issue. Let's refresh our Slack. Okay, here we have get endpoint. So let's try. We can try in Swagger itself if you want. So here file name, right? We have two files already uploaded, like bike 10 and bike 2. So let me search for bike 2. Bike hyphen 2.webp. So let's execute and let's see. I got bike 2 image from the server itself as a response stream of data. If you want, you can directly call this API in browser and check as well with the URL. See, now let me access 10th bike number 10. See, I am successfully reading the stream of data from my endpoint as an intermediate and consuming the image from the Azure Blob Storage into my .NET 5 application. From there, I am returning the response to my users that are consuming my endpoint, my API endpoint. Okay, so that's how read will work. Okay, next, I want to create an endpoint for downloading, image downloading. So for image downloading from my .NET 5 Web API, so I can use directly this entire logic for downloading as well. Okay, no changes required. Just I need this byte array of data is fine for me. So what I will do, I will create a one more endpoint for downloading. Okay, public async task action result and download string file. Okay, just copy this line from here. Okay, HTTP get and route like down. Okay, I can use same file return type, but other than this, there is one more return type that will be more efficient. I will show that later. So, but here I need to change the content type like download and read endpoint. Okay, let's save it and let's try to test it. Okay, so what I will do, I will copy this URL, I'll paste it here, and I will change here like download. See, my file is downloaded, but the problem is doesn't have any extensions. A raw image is, sorry, raw file is downloaded. Okay, so to overcome this problem, we can use one more return type. And file content result object. Okay, it is an object, not a method. So let's initialize it, and it will take image data byte and the response content type. Okay, here we can specify some file name, download file name. So file will download with this name. So here what I will do, I will use GUID dot GUID dot toString. Okay, plus my what is my file extension WebAPI, right? So I will do like this. Because of this file name extension, now if we access this endpoint, it will download as expected format, in expected format into our local system. So if I try to download it now, so let me access same. See now, it is WebP. Since WebP, it is showing like Chrome browser. If you go here downloads, you can see the image. See, image is showing now. Before I am getting this file, now I am getting this file. So that is the difference between using the file method or the file content result. Okay, but the main thing for downloading image is understand by the browser because of this application octet string. Okay, next thing is, and final operation I want to do is deleting my file from the Azure Blob Storage. So here, go to File Manager, and here we can need to duplicate these lines of code. So first just refactor them. Blob client, get blob client, small refactoring. Okay. First thing is I want container name, string dot container name. Okay. Next thing is string dot file name. So I can take all this code here, paste it over here. Okay. And simply return blob client. Okay. I will do file name. Instead of this, I can pass container name. Okay. Now here get the blob client and names will be my, and copy the name of the file from here. Okay. So let's remove this and remove this line of code. Okay. So we are doing some reducing our code. Have cut it. Okay. So that is the change we made. We made get blob client as separate method. Okay. Now final operation I want to do is delete, right? So here for my delete public async task byte array and delete. It expects a file name. Okay. I can grab this line name. Alt F. Okay, it is a void only, so no need of byte array. Sorry for that. Okay, now after getting the blob client, we will have another method like delete async. That's simple. That much simple. By using this library, we can implement blob storage into our application. Okay. So now finally, let's create an abstract method for this method. So paste it over here. Okay. And let me create a one endpoint for delete public async ask by action result delete file. Okay. Now await file manager dot delete file name and simply return OK. OK, or like message deleted. Okay. Let's add HTTP verbs like get, route like, delete. That's our application is running. So what I will do here, I'll copy this, just change it here, delete. Okay, I want to delete byte number 10. Deleted. I got success message. Let's refresh in our blob storage. See, now you only have one image. Byte 10 has been deleted. So our endpoint is working. So that's all about the different operations, file managing operations we can do with the Azure Blob Storage by using our .NET 5 Web API and by installing the Azure Blob Storage Blobs .NET library. So you can do much more things like creating the container from the code itself, like a folder. You can do that as well. That is also very simple. Okay. Uh, so that's all about this image controller uh, with all the operations using the Azure Blob Storage. So I think this video has delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. We will meet you again soon, guys, with a new video. Until then, signing off.